Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Shouldn't body lotion do more than just moisturize? Olay Body's lotion, infused with skincare super ingredients, vitamin B3, and collagen, penetrates and hydrates to rejuvenate surface cells, so skin looks firmer and more radiant over time. With Olay Body, I feel fearless in my skin. Olay Body. Now try Olay's other skincare-inspired body lotions with hyaluronic acid and vitamin C.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. The sports world keeps spinning and the local conversation continues. Now, Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark right here on 92.5 FM. We are glad you are with us with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. There is a ton to get into here today. I will go ahead and tell you, I'm learning new things every day about doing an evening program, a show at night, which I love, by the way. You get all day to kind of collect your thoughts, hear other opinions, stew on other opinions, and then you can just fire off at 8 o'clock, like I'm given the opportunity to do every night here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And boy, oh boy, do I have feelings. Do I have thoughts on the Deebo Samuel situation. And I'm quite puzzled by many Jaguar fans. Quite puzzled indeed. And we'll get to that in just a moment. As always, for your viewing pleasure, Hacker After Dark being streamed right now on the 1010XL YouTube channel, 1010XL YouTube. You can find Hacker After Dark until 10 o'clock tonight. You can also follow along on my personal Twitter, at Ryan Green 1010XL. That's at Ryan Green 1010XL. I will tell you as well before we really dive in to tonight's show, and we got a good one, some good guests lined up for you, that I'm feeling pretty good, man. It's getaway day. I'm heading out to Las Vegas a week in advance. I'm not going out to the draft. No, I'm going out for recreation. I'm going out as a tourist, if you will. But come to find out that our flight had been changed. We were flying from Orlando to Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and we were going to get into Vegas about 3 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow afternoon. Well, one of the major airlines here in the United States of America decided to change our flight. I was pretty fired up about it at first, but in thinking more and more about it, I'm okay with it. But here's the bottom line. Why am I telling you this? Well, I get off the air at 10 o'clock tonight here in Jacksonville. My flight departs Orlando, Florida at 6 a.m. in the morning, about the time Jeff Prosser hits the airwaves. I have to be at the Orlando airport probably at about 4:30. So, yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to bed tonight. I'll get home about 10:30, probably about 2 a.m. I will hit 95 South. I will be on my way to Orlando. Translation, I will not be with you tomorrow night through next Monday, but I will return next Tuesday in time to do a couple of shows before the National Football League draft. A week from tomorrow. The NFL draft, a week from tomorrow. I know you're fired up about it, Jacksonville. I'm fired up about it. We have spent days and weeks and months talking about this draft. It will finally come to fruition next week. All right, your guest lineup looks like this. Former Jacksonville Jaguar offensive lineman Ymca Nwaneri will join us probably in about a half an hour or so. I want to talk to Ymca about the Jaguars offseason that was. What does he think about the Jaguars draft prospects? Also, what does he think about the idea of Jawaan Taylor moving inside to guard? Keep in mind, Ymca Nwaneri played guard here for many years in a Jaguar uniform. He knows a thing or two about the offensive guard position. Can Jawaan Taylor do it if need be. We'll talk all things Jaguars with former Jaguar Uche Nwaneri coming up in just a little bit. In the 9 o'clock hour, former Gator, defensive back, a national champion winner on the 96 Florida Gator football team, my friend Fred Weary will join us. I want to talk to Fred about Billy Napier, about what's going on down there with his alma mater at the University of Florida. I also want to talk to Fred about the Jaguars. Fred is from Jacksonville, played his high school ball in Mandarin, still lives in the Jacksonville area. What is a former college football national champion, a fourth-round pick of the New Orleans Saints, had a few good seasons, quite frankly, in New Orleans. What does he think about what's going on here with the hometown Jaguars? So Fred Weary coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, and then Anthony Tresh of PFF.com, ProFootballFocus.com. Anthony is their lead college football guy, so we're going to talk draft, but we're also going to mix in some college ball. And he has some interesting thoughts about not only the Florida Gators and the Florida State Seminoles. Anthony has a very interesting thought that I want you to hear about Travon Walker. All the talk about Travon Walker potentially coming to Jacksonville with the number 1 pick. As you've probably figured out listening to the first 2 weeks of Hacker After Dark, I like to get all sorts of opinions. And boy, Anthony Tresh of PFF.com gave me a really, really solid one. One that's different on Travon Walker, and you'll hear that in the 9 o'clock hour. Okay. Deebo Samuel out in San Francisco apparently wants out. The reports coming out earlier today, there had been some conversation when Deebo Samuel, what about week and a half, 2 weeks ago, had taken all the 49er mentions, the 49er logos off his social media. We talked about that last night. That's where we are in today's society. If you want to know how an athlete is feeling, don't worry about reading the tea leaves. Just go straight to the gram. Go straight to Twitter. And you're going to get their opinions very, very quickly with what they deleted, who they followed, who they've blocked. And Deebo Samuel apparently had deleted all his San Francisco 49er stuff. So that comes out, and social media is ablaze. Social media goes absolutely nuts in every NFL market. Deebo Samuel's best fit is this team or that team or this team. But obviously, we're focused on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're focused on what they're building here in Jacksonville with Doug Peterson, with Trent Baalke, trying to repair the damage that was done last year with Urban Meyer and his staff. And all the time this afternoon, all the tweets, all the responses that I had on my personal Twitter, just absolutely interesting, but also somewhat ridiculous. I'm going to read you verbatim what I said earlier this afternoon. I hope you do follow me at Ryan Green 1010XL on Twitter. This is all I said. So you spend over $100 million in free agency on Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, $50 million of that in guaranteed money, and now you want Deebo Samuel as well. Not sure if that makes sense. When they signed those 2 wide receivers, they sort of made their bed. Now they have to lie in it. And you would have thought I was public enemy number 1 with that tweet. Public enemy number 1. Oh, people up in arms. Hacker, how can you say that? You have a chance to get better with Deebo Samuel. Money is no object. You do what it takes to make the team better. Yada, yada, yada. Well, I mean, if money were no object, that would probably be true. I would love to have Deebo Samuel on this team. If money's not an issue, yeah, absolutely. But you want to talk about absolute nonsense to me. There are people legitimately asking if the Jacksonville Jaguars should trade the number 1 pick in the draft for Deebo Samuel. The number 1 pick in the draft. No, absolutely not. Look at what's transpired this offseason. You gave Christian Kirk $37 million in guaranteed money. You gave Christian Kirk a contract that with incentives potentially raises it into the 80s. Will he see all that? Probably not. But he'll certainly get into the 40s, if not the $50 million mark of that contract. You then sign Zay Jones to a 3-year, $30 million deal. You then give Evan Ingram $9 million on a 1-year deal. So you have spent in contracts over $115 million. In guaranteed money, you have spent close to $60 million on Evan Ingram, on Zay Jones, and on Christian Kirk. Those contracts are signed. The ink is dried. They're not going away. Those are done deals. Why on earth would you want to trade the number 1 pick in the draft for Deebo Samuel, which, by the way, if you trade the number 1 pick in the draft, Deebo Samuel better be your number 1 option. Here's the problem. You just gave Christian Kirk one of the largest NFL contracts any wide receiver has ever seen. So you're going to have 2 number 1s. You're going to have Christian Kirk making $18 million a year. And now you're going to trade the number 1 pick for Deebo Samuel? I don't see it, man. This team has so many problems. This team lacks so much at so many positions. To me, you cannot allocate that much money, those amount of resources, to the wide receiver position. You just can't do it. I said this earlier this offseason, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Christian Kirk and Zay Jones on the first day of free agency, people were fired up. People were excited. You add Evan Ingram into that mess. All right, yeah, that's pretty good. That's certainly an upgrade over where the Jaguars have been. I don't know when along the line that Jaguar fans seemingly have rebelled against the idea that Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram were, quote, all the Jaguars did in free agency. But some of you lost sleep with the fact that Tyreek Hill was available and didn't come to Jacksonville. Are you kidding me, man? Tyreek Hill would have never come to Jacksonville. Tyreek Hill wanted to go home to South Beach, and he got his wish. You think Deebo Samuel wants to come to Jacksonville? I don't know. He's obviously played his college ball at South Carolina, but I don't know if he has any interest in coming to Jacksonville. If I'm Deebo Samuel, I'm probably going to a contender, and I'm probably going to a spot where they just didn't give $80 million to a guy in free agency. By the way, Deebo Samuel reportedly no longer wants to be a hybrid. He wants to be just a wide receiver, not a wide receiver running back combo. At least that's the report coming out. Jaguar fans, to me, you're so starved for a star. That's why every time a Tyreek Hill, a Devontae Adams, a Deebo Samuel, every time a guy like that hits the market, requests a trade, you want the Jaguars to go all in to get that person. In the 27-year history of the Jacksonville Jaguars, how many times have they been able to land the star in free agency? Jimmy Smith wasn't a star in free agency. He was a guy before he got here. Keenan McCardell wasn't a star in free agency again. He was a guy before he got here. The other name wide receivers the Jaguars have landed. Who? J.J. Stokes? Dennis Northcutt? LaRon Robinson? Marvin Jones? Chris Conley? Andre Rison? Yeah, that worked out for about 10 games. You got to face reality. For starters, a lot of stars, quote unquote, are not going to want to come to Jacksonville, at least right now. They've been the worst organization in football. Until that changes on the field, it's going to be hard to attract the stars here. I don't care about the no state sales tax or any of that. But secondly, I go back to the point I made earlier. You might not like the Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram signings, but you got to base your thoughts in reality. And what reality is is you're not going to trade the number one pick in the draft for a wide receiver when you spent $100 million on the wide receiver position. And I absolutely love the argument, and I do mean this. I love the argument that a couple of people had with me today on social media. Well, at the time they signed Kirk and Zay Jones, the Jaguars didn't know Deebo Samuel was going to be available. Okay? What's your point? That money's been spent. That money's spoken for. Those contracts have been signed. It does not matter. Maybe they don't sign Kirk and Jones if Deebo Samuel was available on March 14th. But guess what? He wasn't. They had to do what they thought at the time was the best thing to do. And at the time, what they thought the best thing to do was bring in Christian Kirk, who's caught 230 some odd passes in a 4-year NFL career, bring in a speedster in Zay Jones, and sign Evan Ingram to a 1-year prove-it deal. I like what they did in free agency. I think Kirk, Jones, and Evan Ingram, a massive upgrade over where they've been. To me, you just don't bring in a Deebo Samuel when you've already done so much at that position. And by the way, you have 12 draft picks next week. They're going to draft a wide receiver. Deebo Samuel, mind you, is going to want another contract very quickly. So you're going to pay Christian Kirk what you paid him, trade for Deebo Samuel, and then give him a massive deal like you just gave Christian Kirk? Doesn't make sense. The dollars don't make sense on that. You may not like it. I know some of you probably don't like it, but that's the reality. You can't pay 2 wide receivers $70+ million. You just can't do it. So enjoy Christian Kirk, enjoy Zay Jones, enjoy Marvin Jones, Dan Arnold, Evan Ingram, whoever they draft next week. Those are going to be your wide receiver / tight ends. And it's a massive upgrade over where they were last year. But for the life of me, I cannot imagine a scenario where they were able to land Deebo Samuel. Money's too much, and what it's going to cost to get him, to me, is going to be too much. 641-1010 is your phone number. I know some of you probably think I'm wrong. Your conversations are more than welcome here on Hacker After Dark. We're with you every night here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk Deebo Samuel next on Hacker After Dark.
Feel the roar of the Jaguars.
It's Duval right now, man. DTWD, Duval till we die.
On the home of the Jaguars, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Congratulations to Exit Real Estate Gallery and their continued support of the Jacksonville Jaguars. As a proud partner since 2016, Exit's unwavering commitment to the Jaguars illustrates their commitment to the North Florida community. A trusted local leader in real estate, Exit's footprint spans throughout the region with 7 offices and over 400 realtors to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to sell, buy, or rent local real estate, an Exit agent is always available to assist.
Find your why with membership at the First Coast YMCA. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Registration is now open for youth sports, camps, swim lessons, and so much more. Both kids and adults benefit from a family membership at the Y. Improve your health, learn to swim, gain new skills, make new friends, and connect with positive role models in your community. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your why today. Visit fcymca.org.
If you've been involved in a slip and fall accident and are not sure of your legal options, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
Hacker here for my friends at Xfinity. Look, don't rely on just your cell phone to connect to the internet. Enjoy a year of free high-speed home internet service when you add 1 line of unlimited mobile with 5G for only $30 a month when you qualify for the affordable connectivity program. That's right, get fast, reliable home internet for free when you add 1 line of unlimited mobile with 5G for only $30 a month. Act now to get this incredible deal so you can enjoy more streaming, gaming, chatting, sharing, and everything else that you love for less. This terrific offer does require paperless billing and auto pay with a stored bank account. Offer expires April 28, 2022. Restrictions apply. New Connect Internet, 50 megabit per second customers with an Xfinity Mobile Unlimited line. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra, and subject to change. Go to Xfinity.com. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit an Xfinity store today.
Pick it here for my friends at Roof It Right. Are you having a problem with your roof? Well, you want the strongest building materials backed by the market's best warranties. You want Roof It Right. Listen, people, a roof in Florida, that's a big deal. And I've been endorsing Roof It Right for years because they're the company I know and I trust. Call or schedule your estimate today at roofitRightFL.com. That's roofitRightFL.com. And see why your friends, your neighbors say, Roof It Right, so you can sleep at night.
Any adventure, any task, anytime. There's a CF Moto Utility ATV or UTV for any rider. See the full lineup at Ride Now Beach Boulevard. Venture seekers can start with the trail-tested capability and comfort of the C-Force lineup. For the ultimate in UTV performance, check out the Z-Force 950. Find your utility ATV at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or online at cfmotousa.com. ATVs are recommended for the use only by riders age 16 years and older. ATVs can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends approved training course for safety and training information.
Are you at a dead end when it comes to dealing with that awful joint pain? So was Rick Rawlings.
I did 1.5 years of steroidal injections in my shoulders, both shoulders. They weren't helping at all, and it was just a Band-Aid.
As for the constant pain medication prescriptions,
I didn't get any relief. I didn't get any sleep, so I just stopped taking them. I didn't want to get hooked on drugs.
But one day,
I heard a commercial on the radio about QC Kinetics.
Rick called QC Kinetics and learned all about natural biologic therapies, non-surgical treatments that actually help the body restore damaged joint tissue. And it was life-changing.
After doing the QC Kinetics, I feel like I have a new life again. Today, my shoulders feel wonderful. My only regret was I wish I had done it sooner.
From dead ends to new beginnings. Call today and learn about QC Kinetics' long-lasting relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coastal Equipment in Jacksonville and McClenny to reach your North Florida Kubota Superstore.
PGA Junior Golf League starts in May at Hidden Hills Golf Club, and you'll want your kids to be part of our team. Visit PGAJuniorLeague.com to register and enjoy PGA instruction in an exciting team format. Log on to HiddenHillsGC.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On April 20th, 1912, after several rainouts and devastating news of the Titanic, Fenway Park officially opens. The Red Sox beat the New York Highlanders 7-6 in 11 innings.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Hacker After Dark on a Wednesday night. Glad you're with us. 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Again, out the rest of the week. No, they haven't canceled us after 2 weeks. I don't think, anyway. We'll see if I'm allowed back in the building next week. But I already had a vacation to Las Vegas planned. And, when you shift time slots in the middle of the planning period, you can't get a refund on your vacation. So out tomorrow, out Friday, out Monday. I will be back with you on Tuesday here on Hacker After Dark. Want to get into this Jaguar thing. I'm getting a lot of responses on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010 in regards to Deebo Samuel. Really quick, NBA playoff update. Game 2 at the Garden up in Boston. Brooklyn, a 65-55 lead on the Celtics. Remember, the Celtics won Game 1 with the Jason Tatum layup at the buzzer. Brooklyn a 10-point lead at the half. Game 3 already, not messing around in the Philadelphia-Toronto series. The series has moved to the to the Toronto, Canada area. Now, keep in mind, there are a couple 76ers, Thibault is the main one, that are not eligible to play in this game because their vaccination status is different in Canada than what it is here. It's the only series this is going to happen. Obviously, Toronto is the only team in Canada in the NBA, but the Raptors lead at 12-9 over Philadelphia midway through the first. The Sixers lead that series 2-0 later on tonight, it will be game 2 between the Chicago Bulls and the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, back into the Deebo Samuel thing. You want to talk draft? That's on the table as well at 641-1010. I just think with Christian Kirk, with Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram, you can't have everything. You can't have everything. Tyreek Hill comes on the market. You want him? No, it goes to Miami. Deebo Samuel comes on the market. It's just unfortunate timing. I'd love Deebo Samuel in a Jaguar uniform. I would. Not after you paid Christian Kirk all that money, Zay Jones all that money, and had a 1-year, $9 million prove-it deal with Evan Ingram. There's only one football. Keep in mind, you add Marvin Jones to that mix. You add Dan Arnold to that mix. You get Travis Etienne back. Never mind the fact Laviska Shenault is still here, who has 120 catches in 2 years. James Robinson coming off the Achilles. And you want to add Deebo Samuel to that? It'd be great. But again, I don't know how the money is going to work there with all that you've already invested at the wide receiver position. To the phone lines we go. 641-1010 is the phone number. We're glad you're with us. It is a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Let's go to the beaches. Let's get Chuck in here on 1010XL. Chuck, go ahead.
Hey, Hack, congratulations, man, on the job. You and I have known each other for a while from Cole Haynes and there on so forth.
Oh, yeah. Chuck, absolutely, buddy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Congratulations. You've always been a great dude. Nothing I'm going to say is like revolutionary, but if you take the Jaguar drafts back 9 years, I won't go 10 because 10's kind of misleading, but the last 9 years, they've had 20 first or second round draft picks, and they've averaged 32 starts.
Huh,
so you've had 32 starts. So 2 years is what they've averaged with their top 2 draft picks, which is, I've looked at other teams, Hack, far below, as you can imagine, the successful team averages. It's just amazing, you know?
Chuck, that is amazing. Appreciate the kind words. Doing a little homework there. I like that. It's embarrassing is what it is. Look, nothing against the guy personally. I had some nice conversations with him. They were brief, but they were still nice, pleasant conversations with him. I was an intern at the very start of his tenure here in Jacksonville. I don't know how Dave Caldwell kept a job here for 8 years. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. The horrific job that was done here by Dave Caldwell and his staff. It's laughable how bad it was. Prior to him, Gene Smith, wow, that wasn't a whole lot better. And even going back to Shaq Harris, he was the best of the bunch, but that's not saying a whole lot. That's why the Trent Baalke venom from the fan base, I don't doubt that there are a lot of you that just wanted a clean sweep. Whether the guy's name was Trent Baalke or John Smith, it wouldn't have mattered. You just wanted everybody erased that had been part of this organization, and you wanted to start from scratch. Because you gave Dave Caldwell 8 years. Prior to that, Gene Smith got, 4 years? And they were both horrible at their job. Just horrible. So to get all upset with Baalke after 1 year as the GM, a year in which he drafted Tyson Campbell, Andre Sisco, Walker Little, that's what I could never figure out with Jaguar fans. And I mean this. I love you guys. I think you guys some of you are the most passionate in all of the NFL. As much losing as you've put up with. But I could never quite figure out this, and maybe you can explain it to me. All of you that were clamoring for Andre Sisco to get in there at the end of the year. All of you that were clamoring for Walker Little to get in there. Trent Baalke drafted them. No way you're going to tell me Urban Meyer did. Are you kidding me? Urban Meyer didn't draft Andre Sisco. Probably didn't even know who he was. So you're going to destroy Trent Baalke and dress up as clowns and all that, yet you want to see the guys he drafted play to see what they can do. That was puzzling. It really was. And again, Trent Baalke this year. I kind of like what he's done. And I know it's not cool to praise Trent Baalke, and I guess I'm not praising him, but I'm certainly not going to rip him for that free agent haul. They're better every position they sign somebody. They're better at wide receiver. They're better at tight end. They're better in the secondary with Darius Williams. They're better on the interior defensive line. They're better on offensive line with Brandon Sheriff, a 5-time Pro Bowler. I'm very curious to see what Baalke does this draft. If he does well in this draft, you know what? Might be some people eating some crow on Trent Baalke. And on the flip side, the exact opposite, if he swings and misses in this draft, well, then you guys will be proven to be right. And that he wasn't a good general manager. It's a wait-and-see game at this point. The interesting thing is, and what I'm very curious about next week, it's all been hunky-dory to this point, right? Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke, Doug Peterson. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. They're working together. They're building it up. Outstanding. What's going to happen next week in that war room if there's a disagreement on a pick? Who does get the final say? The Super Bowl winning head coach or the embattled general manager? That'll be one to follow. Let's go to Amelia Island. Let's get Mark in here on Hacker After Dark. Mark, what do you got?
Well, the Super Bowl head coach would get my vote on that one, Hack.
Yeah, and I certainly don't blame you. I think a lot of people would hope that's what happens next week.
Let me just talk about the pocket that 16 is going to be standing in. He's got to have a wall in front of him. We're lucky he played his first year and had no major injuries. We've got some guys now that can catch the ball. We've got some speedy guys. We've got some big guys. Let's get that wall built in front of him so he can stay in the pocket, have the receivers time to run their routes, find the open spot, and let him throw the ball the way he can throw it.
All right, Mark, really quick, does that mean you want Evan Neal next week?
Yes, sir.
And what are you going to do, play him at guard?
If Walker Little can play tackle and
well, there's 16.7 million reasons that Cam Robinson's going to be your left tackle, so that's set in stone.
Yeah. Right.
All right, fair enough. Appreciate the opinion. You guys know where I stand on that if you've listened this week. If you haven't, all the shows are archived. 1010XL YouTube, 1010XL.com on demand for your listening pleasure. I would not draft Evan Neal because I'm not playing a tackle that you take number 1 overall at guard next year. Or I guess this year, in 2022. I'm not doing it. If you draft Evan Neal, you're going to make him learn an entirely different position, the left guard spot, presumably, with the idea then of everything he learns in 2022 being irrelevant because you're going to slide him out to left tackle in 23? No. They did not have to franchise Cam Robinson. If they wanted Evan Neal to be their opening day left tackle in 2022, there was nothing stopping them. Nothing. They're picking number 1. No one, no person, no organization could stop them from drafting Evan Neal number 1. They chose to give Cam Robinson almost $16.7 million to be their left tackle. So you're going to play Evan Neal at right tackle? Well, what about your guy Walker Little? I heard so much about Walker Little last year. Are we not even going to take a look at him on the right side? And then there's Jawan Taylor. It's a contract year for Jawan Taylor. You would think if Jawan Taylor is going to have his best year in the NFL, it would be this year in a contract year. 641-1010, phone lines getting loaded. Denmark will get to you here in a second. They got a problem at tackle in the sense of if you draft Evan Neal, he's not playing tackle this year. And for the life of me, I don't know why you would draft a guy number 1 and play him at guard for a year. Yeah, Jonathan Ogden, right. I mention that every night. He's 26 years ago. A quarter century ago that happened. To me, you got Cam Robinson as your left tackle. Maybe the loser of right tackle, Little or Taylor, at left guard. Do you draft a center or are you comfortable with Shatley? Either way, Evan Neal's not playing center. And then you got Brandon Sheriff and hopefully Walker Little on the right side. Got to affect the opposing quarterback. You've already invested with the Shatley contract, with the Sheriff contract, and with the Cam Robinson franchise contract. You've already invested about $75 million on the offensive line this offseason. $75 million. What have you done on the defensive line to affect the quarterback? You signed Arden Key, a 1-year, $6 million deal. So for everybody that wants Deebo Samuel, right, you want Deebo. Well, Deebo plays a position they've put $100 million in this offseason. $50 million guaranteed. All right, you want Evan Neal. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Evan Neal plays a position where they've invested $75 million. About $40 million of that guaranteed this offseason. What have they done to affect the opposing quarterback? Arden Key. What, he get $6 million for a 1-year deal? If you follow the money, might tell you where the Jaguars are going 1 week from tomorrow. Let's get a couple of more in. Former Jaguar Uche Nwaneri coming up in just a little bit. To the south side we go. Let's get John in here on Hacker After Dark. John, what do you got?
Hey, what's up, Hack? So I got a thought and a question.
Okay.
So the thought is, you're right about we've invested a lot for the offensive line. But if Trevor is supposed to be the next Peyton Manning, then could you imagine a young Peyton and a team drafting the first-round pick to not help him? I can't. And the question is, what about possibly if you drafted a tackle with the first pick, trading Cam? What would you think about that?
John, appreciate the call. Thank you for listening. No, they're not going to trade Cam because that means somebody would have to take on that contract, right? He just signed the franchise tag. Are you going to find a team that's going to pay Cam Robinson almost $17 million in 2022? No, you're not. Quite frankly, I'm surprised the Jaguars are doing that, which again leads me to wonder what they think of Evan Neal since they franchised Cam Robinson. Are we even sure Evan Neal is a top offensive lineman on their board? What about Aquanu from NC State? Could he be higher on their board than maybe we're led to believe right now? If they draft Evan Neal, am I going to lose any sleep over it? No, I'm not. I wouldn't do it. I hope they don't do it. But I wouldn't absolutely hate it. I would probably hate the Deebo Samuel thing if they trade the number 1 pick in the draft for him. That would be horrific in my opinion. I'm an Aidan Hutchinson guy. Plain and simple. If that means I'm too vanilla, then I guess I'm too vanilla. Give me Aidan Hutchinson. Give me a captain from the University of Michigan. Give me a guy whose dad played in the NFL. Give me a guy who got 14.5 sacks in the Big Ten last year. Give me a guy, by all indications, may not be a phenomenal player, may not be a great player, but very few people are going to tell you that he's going to be a bust. We've had draft analyst after draft analyst after draft analyst on this station. Some like Hutchinson more than others, but no one that I've heard has flat out said that guy's going to be a bust. Everybody that I've had on is going to say, yeah, he doesn't have as high a ceiling as some guys, but he's going to be a good football player. I'll settle for that. I will settle for a good football player at this point. Hacker After Dark on a Wednesday night. We are glad you are with us. Coming up next, a guy that knows a little bit about playing offensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Uche Nwaneri. Spent many years in a Jaguar uniform. We'll talk about the Jaguars offseason. We'll talk about Walker Little, Jawan Taylor, Cam Robinson. We'll talk Jaguars. Uche Nwaneri is next on Hacker After Dark.
The station that's not afraid to trade a little paint.
Have you ever?
No, I
have never.
This Sunday at Talladega, brought to you by Famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube, treating every customer like they're famous on 1010XL.
When you have a specific plumbing issue, why call around wondering who can fix it? Rooter does it all. Video camera inspections, line jetting, lift station services, to smoke testing. Rooter is fully licensed and insured and a 5-star Google-rated company. Need a good plumber? You need Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Hacker here for Prize Picks. All right, sports fanatics, have you heard about Prize Picks? Prize Picks is a daily fantasy made easy. I absolutely love it. You will too. What I love about Prize Picks, it has the best NBA prop games on the market. Prize Picks offers more NBA props than any other daily fantasy sports provider and offers every player and stat category you can think of. For everybody listening right now that deposits and uses promo code JAX at prizepicks.com, you will receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. That's a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 at prizepicks.com. You can pick 2 to 5 players on an over-under on their projections, and you win up to 10 times on any entry, and it's just you versus the projected number. Enter promo code JAX, prizepicks.com. I love it. You will too.
If you're shopping for a new home, the last thing you want is another surprise jump in mortgage rates. Hey, it's Prosser here, excited to tell you about Loan Pronto's all-new rate protection program. You can get a rate quote that is locked in for 180 days, 6 whole months. Brian and Amy did it. They locked in an APR in the 3s with Loan Pronto. When they finally found a home a month later, rates had jumped into the 4s, but they were protected thanks to Loan Pronto, and they saved over $200 a month in their payment. With Loan Pronto's rate protection guarantee, you can make offers with confidence, and there's no fee for this, no upfront cost. And most home buyers who go with Loan Pronto save about $3,000 in closing costs. Call now for the all-new rate protection program so you can check rate increases off the list of things to worry about. 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Again, 999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The Jaguars are ready for a new look, and head coach Doug Peterson and quarterback Trevor Lawrence are leading the charge. Lock in your seats at jaguars.com/tickets or call 633-2000.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for my friends at Dandy Foods. The Thompson family kicking out quality, fresh, and delicious sandwiches every single day. Fresh, as in never frozen. So don't be fooled by signs or labels. Folks, when it comes to grab-and-go sandwiches, if it doesn't say Dandy on the front, it was made somewhere else, stored in a freezer for who knows how long, then shipped into town beside the chicken pot pie. Not exactly fresh. Why not make your next stop at Gate to taste real fresh quality and make yours a Dandy today?
Get your trailer ready for the boat season. Captain Kevin Favor here, and now with 13 locations, Tire Outlet has you covered for all your boating tire needs. Trailer tires, wheels, vehicle maintenance, they've been selling it all since 1981. So gear up right now for your boating season and visit my friends at Tire Outlet.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Empire Works Reconstruction is seeking to fill multiple positions for carpenters, window installers, painters to demo workers. These positions earn from $18 to $25 per hour depending on work experience and get a consistent 40-hour work week Monday through Thursday, leaving your Fridays to fish or golf while getting paid. To get started, call 407-982-0640, 407-982-0640, or online at empireworks.com. Positions are local to Jacksonville, equal opportunity employer.
As a business owner, it can feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Spot On works with local restaurants to get them set up with the technology needed to stay competitive and made specifically for you. Spot On is a cloud-based point-of-sale system that takes orders and payments, but also addresses labor constraints by increasing efficiencies through handhelds and QR code technology. Call me, Jamie Watson, at 333-4325 or email me at jwatson@spoton.com. I'm here to help.
Fish Bites Trading Post in St. Augustine is having a huge tent sale this weekend. Get big savings on hundreds of items. Enjoy food trucks, live music, and seminars with Captain Rick Murphy of Florida Insider Fishing Report on Saturday. Fish Bites Trading Post, Friday and Saturday, 10 a to 6 p.
Hicken here. Look for my video weekend updates for what is happening in sports and my take on it. The Weekend with Dan is available on YouTube, the 1010XL Twitter feed, and Instagram account. Brought to you by Millennium Physician Group, your connection to a healthier life.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM radio in Jacksonville. Glad you are with us. The NFL Draft just over a week away, and we will find out who the Jacksonville Jaguars take with the number 1 pick in the draft. Let's talk a little Jaguar football with a former Jacksonville Jaguar offensive lineman. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. His name is Uche Nwaneri. Uche, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Uche, we always appreciate it. Now, we had you on back during the coaching search when we thought it was going to be Byron Leftwich. We thought it was going to be this guy and that guy, and it turned out to be Doug Peterson when all was said and done. You've had about, 2.5, 3 months to kind of assess everything that happened during the search. Now that you've had that time, how do you feel about it, knowing that it's Doug Peterson that's going to be in charge of this Jaguar team moving forward?
Well, I think that having Doug Peterson is actually a solid selection. I think that when the coaching search first started up, Doug Peterson was one of those names that came up instantly just because of the success that he had with Philadelphia, getting them to a Super Bowl championship, and a lot of people thought that was that would be a solid option if it were a choice that had to be made right at that time. But, as things started to heat up with the Byron Leftwich talk. And I think that for the most part, the Jags community was starting to see a little bit of a more rosy picture with that, with the kind of fairy tale story having Byron come back to Jacksonville after having been drafted as a first-round pick for the Jaguars. So that kind of started that whole craze during the search. But at the end of the day, Doug Peterson being picked is a solid pick. This is a guy who has great experience, who has a good pedigree amongst the coaches in the league, and he has proven that he's able to take a franchise to a championship and seal the deal. So at the very least, you're getting somebody who can start to create a good culture in Jacksonville and start to galvanize the players and get the kind of guys in that he needs to help build it even further.
Well, and Uche, to that point, I mean, you had the nonsense of Urban Meyer last year and everything that transpired there. Now you bring in a guy that has won a Super Bowl, that has worked with young quarterbacks in the past with Doug Peterson. So, I mean, you could argue it's a 180-degree difference from who the Jaguars had last year to who they have this year. How will the young guys handle that? I mean, it is a completely different atmosphere in a better way. Will last year be easily forgotten once Doug Peterson implements his system?
I think that, being a young player, being in a situation like many of the players who were in their first or second years were with Urban Meyer, you get to see kind of the worst of the, you see kind of the worst of the NFL. But having Doug Peterson come in, that 180-degree turn, it is going to be good for their self-confidence. It's going to be good for the morale of the team overall, for the people in the building and the staff, the coaches, the front office. That really does change the entire building. So I think it's going to be a domino effect. You'll see people, you'll just see a different energy coming from the team itself with Doug Peterson. So it's always positive to have things like that happen, especially when you're kind of in uncharted waters like the Jags were with Urban Meyer. I don't think any team could have survived that. So, yes, I do believe that it will have a positive effect psychologically and practically on the field for the young guys.
Former Jacksonville Jaguar offensive lineman Uche Nwaneri here with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Uche, before we get to the new Jaguars, let's talk about the guys that left this offseason. And, man, was it a changing of the guard. DJ Chark, Brandon Linder, Miles Jack, Andrew Norwell, A.J. Cann, Taven Bryan, all guys that were here 3 or 4 years minimum, all departed this offseason. Now, they didn't experience a lot of winning here in Jacksonville, but they played a lot of games in Jaguar uniforms. What was your thought on all those guys that left and that won't return to Jacksonville?
Well, unfortunately, that's the cycle of generational like rosters. Your rosters where you have guys who spend the majority of their career, the prime of their career with one team. Winning and losing is something that may not be in everyone's control. You can only go out there and play your game on Sundays. You can only go out there and try and execute the game plan on Sundays. So while, you look at their tenure in Jacksonville and you say, well, you had 2017 and then you had everything else. Yes, that may be true, but also at the same time, those guys still embodied the Jaguar spirit. They still went out there, fought their butts off, and, everybody's clock is ticking the moment they walk into the building. So at a certain point, there is going to be a changing of the guard. I remember I experienced that myself. So it's not something that you can necessarily control as a player, but you try to get the most work that you can get done while you're here or while you're on the team. And you try to to do as much as you can to get, to produce, to be able to get as many wins as possible. Now, it's not easy to win in the NFL. I think that's something that we all know at this point. It's not easy to win a game. But when you get a team together that's able to put wins together and string wins together, you want to try and keep that team together. So hopefully this next generation of players will be able to accomplish that on their way to maturing, on their way to kind of solidifying themselves in the roster.
Uche, let's talk about the next generation of players. They spent a lot of money in free agency. They were probably the most active team in free agency. Got some criticism for some of the money that they spent. They certainly did something at your former position, the offensive guard position, bringing in a 5-time Pro Bowler in Brandon Sheriff. You had Evan Ingram at tight end. You had Zay Jones and Christian Kirk at wide receiver. What was your thought on what they did for the offense this offseason?
I thought it was actually a solid job. I think that what everybody has to understand going into situations like this, which for Jacksonville, this is actually a unique situation. You're literally coming from the bottom of the barrel. I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves here. You're coming from the bottom of the barrel. You're going to have to overpay guys. You're not going to be able to get necessarily the top elite level guys that you maybe might want to target, but you're going to be able to get guys who are hovering towards that level, who are sitting in between that level and, being really good players. So it's going to take spending more money. You're going to have to overpay. I think a perfect example of that is Christian Kirk. This is a guy who's a slot wideout. He's not a true number one, and you had to pay him like a number one to get him to come to Jacksonville. That's something that you're going to have to suffer through for a year or two in order to kind of fill out the roster in a way where you can have the most competitive players on the field as possible. Obviously, Brandon Sheriff on the offensive line. This is a guy who's multiple Pro Bowls, but also in the last 4 years, he hasn't finished a single season. So he's got an injury question about him. You pay him a little bit more. You get him to come out from Washington to sign with Jacksonville. But I think overall, it was a solid job of kind of setting a foundation, because that's really what I think this season is going to be about. It's about kind of setting the foundation of the culture. We're going to see more wins, I believe, than we've seen in the past 2 seasons. But we're also going to look to upgrade as we move into the future. And those guys who are part of setting that foundation will be important to the nucleus of the squad moving forward. Once we get into a point where Jacksonville has kind of cleaned its image a little bit with more wins, with more competitive games, then you can bring in bigger and bigger names or just more crucial free agents who will be willing to come to Jacksonville because they see that there is a future there. They see that there's an upside, and this is a team that's getting ready to cross into that postseason contention, into that championship contention. So it's a process, but I believe that they did what they had to do this offseason to get guys to sign with Jacksonville.
Couple of more for former Jaguar offensive lineman Uche Nwaneri. He's with us here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM in Jacksonville. Uche, final free agent thought, other than Brandon Sheriff and Darius Williams, what I really like what the Jaguars did is they signed the 26 and 27-year-olds, guys coming into their second NFL contract. They didn't go after veterans other than Sheriff and Darius Williams. All these other guys, including an Evan Ingram, which I think might be the most underrated signing of them all, a 1-year almost prove-it deal for the former first-rounder. I really like what the Jaguars did in giving weapons for Trevor Lawrence to use this upcoming season.
No, I agree. I think that that's obviously going to be of paramount importance to the Jaguars to have weapons for Trevor Lawrence to turn to because, even as a rookie who didn't really have weapons as the season progressed, he lost DJ Chark, and, there was just I would say it was just a malnutritioned offense in terms of creativity and just putting guys in positions to be successful. He still managed to make some pretty impressive throws. And that the talent's there. That, he can get the ball. He can fit the ball into tight spaces. But you need guys who can create space. You need guys who can be playmakers for him. I think Evan Ingram is going to have a chance to kind of revitalize his career. He's been known as a guy who's dropped the ball a lot in his time in New York. So we'll see if he's able to kind of revigorate his career in that regard. But I do totally agree that, giving him some weapons, giving him some guys with some athleticism who can get out into the open field is important. And his growth this season is a must. You got to see growth from Trevor Lawrence. And I think that we will see growth from him because there's going to be stability there. And when you have that kind of stability with a coach who has the kind of pedigree that Doug Peterson has, it does tend to, kind of broaden the abilities of your offense. He's a guy who knows how to put an offense together and how to get the most out of it. So we'll see how that plays out throughout the season. But I'm definitely in agreement that they did get him some good weapons. They got him a good start for having some guys out on the field who can make some plays for him. And we'll look forward to seeing what happens this fall. All right, Uche, as we begin to wrap up here with you, man, again, really appreciate you joining us here on 1010XL. The draft next week, finally. We've seemingly been talking about this thing forever. It's on the doorstep now, next Thursday night. You've heard all the analysis. You're active on social media. You've heard Aidan Hutchinson. You've heard Travon Walker. You've heard about Evan Neal. What would Uche Nwaneri do with the number 1 pick in the draft next Thursday night? Man, I've gone back and forth on this a couple of times, just in my own kind of review of some of the game film from the offensive linemen. I'm a true believer in starting with the O-line in regards to kind of setting the tone for the offense. But you see that Cam Robinson signed a tender. He's going to be at the left tackle spot. If I were holding on to that number 1 overall pick, I'd be trying to trade that thing away. Because as I see it, this is not a draft that really has a true number 1 overall player in it. I would be trying to create draft capital, try and add a couple more picks to this draft, maybe 1 or 2 more picks to next year's draft with that number 1 overall pick. Now there hasn't been much interest in trading for that number 1 overall pick at all. But if there was a way to, curve some kind of deal with a team that's looking to move up a couple of spots, I would be looking to get rid of that pick. As an offensive lineman, who scares you more, Aidan Hutchinson or Travon Walker? As an offensive lineman, I don't think I was ever scared of anybody. So it's a good answer. I would say, who would I respect more? Who would I be on the lookout for? Right. It's hard to say. I look at Aidan Hutchinson, and he's got great talent, but also if you go back and you look at, a game like the Michigan-Ohio State game, kind of disappeared. Juwan Walker, a little bit more dynamic, a little bit better lateral movement. I'd say that, those kind of guys are harder to deal with. Guys who can move laterally well. A guy who just charges upfield, a guy who's an engager physically rather than trying to be an elusive rusher. Those ones are easier to block because you get your hands on them and you can lock them down. But the guys who are shifty, who get slippery, they can become difficult. So for me, I think that's how I would look at it.
Hey, Uche, final question. If there is a battle in training camp at right tackle between Walker Little and Jawan Taylor, and for the point of this question, let's assume Walker Little wins that job. You played offensive guard. You were a very good offensive guard here in Jacksonville. Do you believe Jawan Taylor could move inside and play at the offensive guard spot?
Yeah, I do believe that he could move in. He could move in and play offensive guard. The thing about it's easier to move inside than it is to move outside. And as a tackle, you've got long arms, you've got athleticism, you've got a good reflexes in regards to reacting to defenders. Playing guard is a little bit different because you're in a phone booth, but I think that physically, for a tackle to move inside, it's going to be something that they should do well at. Now, at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to whether or not mentally he's ready to be that kind of player, because at the guard position, you have to be a bit more of a mauler. You have to be a bit more physical at the point of attack because you're not working with a whole lot of space, and you got to be able to take control quickly. So that will be the adjustment. That'll be the learning curve, I believe. But it's definitely a transition that a tackle can make if they commit to it.
Uche Winari, former Jacksonville Jaguar offensive lineman, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Uche, always enjoy the conversation. Man, thank you very much, and we'll all be watching next week to see what the Jaguars do in this year's draft.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me.
Bringing intelligent sports talk to the people of Jacksonville.
He's going to demonstrate an electro-biomechanical neural transmitting zero synapse repositioner. We call it
1010XL.
Another prescription, another surgery, here we go again. But the joint pain is still here.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. Try something new that can lead you to a better life.
Football champion Emmitt Smith's talking about QC Kinetics, all-natural, non-invasive alternatives to surgery and harmful pain medications.
I tried to avoid as many of those things as possible because I did not want to get hooked on pain meds. I didn't want those things to hamper my life.
Patients across the country are saying no to pain meds and discovering QC Kinetics all-natural, biologic, long-lasting solutions to pain relief. Regenerative treatments that help your body restore damaged tissue and get rid of the pain.
The natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
End the cycle of pain meds and avoid surgery.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
Hacker here for my friends at Xfinity. Look, your phones, tablets, and laptops are always connected, so you need internet that can power a whole house full of devices. There's great news. The next generation of Wi-Fi technology is here, and it's only from Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Connect hundreds of devices at once and experience 3 times the bandwidth. For more reliable connections, it's ultra-fast and incredibly powerful. Learn more about Xfinity's next-generation Wi-Fi or get started with Xfinity Internet with 50 megabits per second for $25 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. This terrific offer does require paperless billing and auto-pay with a stored bank account. Offer expires April 28th. Restrictions apply. New Connect Internet customers only. Equipment taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Go to Xfinity.com or call 1-800-XFINITY.
Maximize the beauty of your home with custom-made windows and patio doors from Renewal by Andersen. Right now, buy 2 windows or patio doors and get the third for 60% off. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Visit rbafla.com for details. And this offer expires April 30th. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CGC 1527613.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
What is the oldest bridge here in Jacksonville? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The Acosta Bridge, originally known as the Yellow Monster, was finished in 1921, just celebrated its 100th birthday.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Spring cleaning is upon us, and this is the perfect time to call Zero Res. Hicken here, and Zero Res can clean your carpets, area rugs, towel and grout, furniture, granite countertops, and even your air ducts. Remember, a clean home is a healthy home. At Zero Res, they just hit a new milestone. They now have more than 5,000 Google reviews. Go ahead and Google Zero Res and see what your neighbors are saying. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $147, or 2 rooms of tile clean for $147, or you can even do both.
Zero Res.
Here at Citrus Distillers, we're Duval till we die. And that's why we're happy to announce we are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look for our amazing locally distilled whiskeys at your favorite liquor store. Going out for a concert or event? Remember to visit your local Whiskey King at the Distillers Bar in ViStar Memorial Arena. Find us on social media for fun drink recipes and more. Citrus Distillers, proud partner of the Jaguars and your local Whiskey King. Cheers.
Buying a car can be stressful, especially one sold as is or with no warranty. Do the 7, 10, or 30-day warranties leave you wondering what will happen on day 31?
Stop. Car buying doesn't need to be so stressful. Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet now offer the exclusive Beaver Certified program protecting your used car for 7 years or 100,000 miles. That's right, certified Hondas, Fords, Nissans, and any other make you consider now come with the peace of mind you deserve. Shop worry-free at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville.
I'm Lauren Brooks. Join me for the Gator Report on 1010XL as I break down the latest storylines in Gator Nation.
Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts. On the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gator!
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
Into the 9 o'clock hour we go. Hacker After Dark on a Wednesday, 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Remember, you can stream us online, the 1010XL YouTube channel, every night. Also on my personal Twitter, at Ryan Green, 1010XL. We stream Hacker After Dark every evening here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Updating you on the NBA playoffs. Game 2 in Boston. Brooklyn 88-83 over the Celtics, getting close to the end of the third quarter. Boy, what a series this has already been. Of course, Boston won at the buzzer in Game 1. They are battling back and forth here in Game 2. Brooklyn holding on to a 5-point lead at the end of the third quarter. Game 3 up in Toronto. Philadelphia leads the series 2-0. Toronto with the lead tonight, 53-46. As they are closing in on halftime, a game Toronto absolutely needs if they want any chance in that series. And coming up in about a half an hour, it will be Game 2 in Milwaukee between the Chicago Bulls and the defending world champion, Milwaukee Bucks. Coming up next, we've done a lot in the world of the National Football League. We'll continue that, but we are going to shift gears a little bit to the college football gridiron. A guy that won a national championship for the Florida Gators in 1996, was drafted into the National Football League by the New Orleans Saints, and a 1010XL alum. My buddy Fred Weary. I want to talk with Fred about Billy Napier. I want to talk with Fred about the direction of the Gator program. And Fred Weary is a Jacksonville resident. Played at Mandarin High School. lives here in the Jacksonville area. I want to talk to Fred about Trevor Lawrence, about Doug Peterson. What does he see from this Jaguar team coming into 2022? Former Gator All-American defensive back Fred Weary. He is next on Hacker After Dark.
This is 1010XL.
I had a dream
to bring Jacksonville Sports Radio true.
Awesome.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio. Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
The Malavia Washington Youth Foundation Spring for Hope Dinner is April 24th at the Florida Blue Campus. Learn how to sponsor or get tickets at malwashington.com.
The learning experience in Nocatee is raising funds for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the Jacksonville Sharks will donate $5 for every ticket sold. Learn more at jacksharks.com.
If your child is between 5 and 12 and would like to cheer or play tackle football in the Police Athletic League, signups are at jackspalsports.org.
If you know someone with cancer and no insurance, call the U.S. Uninsured Helpline at 800-234-1317.
The Wounded Warrior Project provides what medicine and technology can't: community, counseling, and a second chance. Find ways to help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Hacker here for Prize Picks. All right, sports fanatics, have you heard about Prize Picks? Let me tell you, Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. I love it. You will too. What I love about Prize Picks, it's simple. I'm an NBA fan. They have more NBA prop games on the market than anybody. Prize Picks offers more NBA props than any other daily fantasy operator and offers every player and stat category that you can think of. Here's the bottom line. All the users that deposit at Prize Picks use promo code JAX and you will receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Promo code JAX, receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com. Use promo code JAX. Also download it at the App Store today. Daily fantasy made easy. It's Prize Picks.
Hello, all you Jacksonville sports fans. Don here from Taco Lou. If you're in the mood for some great tacos, cold Dos Equis, and maybe even a sip of some fine tequila, then the Lou is calling your name. Come out to Jack's Beach and experience what many have dubbed the #1 taco in the 904. There are plenty of great taco joints in town, and we're proud to have been around for this long, and we have only you, the fine people of Jacksonville, to thank for helping us grow and become who we are today. Cheers to you, Jacksonville, and thank you from the Lou crew. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is your home for Gator sports.
That ball's ripped.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Universal Roof and Contracting, Coastal Equipment, Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors, Travel Camp RV, and by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.
Fair ball, home run.
Catch Gators baseball all season long on 1010XL.
At Duck Duck Rooter, we do it all when it comes to septic systems. Full system installations, we install drain fields, septic tanks, sump pumps, perform full septic inspections.
Excuse me?
Yes?
A new septic system installation requires a permit. Do you handle the application and all the paperwork?
Yes, we do that too.
Whew!
For all septic services and installations, trust the Duck.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
You know what's great about getting older? The toys are way cooler. Spring is here, and it's playtime.
Yeah!
And One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, has slash loan rates across the board on all the toys. Motorcycles, jet skis, boats, RVs, ATVs, even golf carts. And it's fun and potentially dangerous. One-to-One Financial is the perfect loan to help you finance it. Check out our rock bottom rates and apply now at one-to-onefcu.org. Come out and play. Federally insured by NCUA.
As a business owner, it can feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Spot On works with local restaurants to get them set up with the technology needed to stay competitive and made specifically for you. Spot On is a cloud-based point-of-sale system that takes orders and payments, but also addresses labor constraints by increasing efficiencies through handhelds and QR code technology. Call me, Jamie Watson, at 333-4325 or email me at jwatson@spoton.com. I'm here to help.
Man, did you know that over half of all males suffer from ED or PE?
Ladies, your man should talk to the specialists at Prime Men's Medical Center.
If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down,
Men are now lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, and it's affordable.
for a private consultation at Prime Men's Medical Center, call 904-664-8217.
See results on your first visit, guaranteed, or pay nothing.
Call 904-664-8217.
The Who is here, April 24th at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. For your chance to win tickets now, text WHO to the text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010. Text WHO to 641-1010.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
And back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, we are glad you are with us. The Florida Gators have wrapped up spring practice, year number 1 for the spring drills under head coach Billy Napier. A lot to break down from spring practice. Anthony Richardson looks like he's the guy. How much trouble is the roster in? How much will the transfer portal be used? Let's talk Gator football with former Florida Gator and a Jacksonville native of Mandarin High School, my buddy Fred Weary, here with us on 1010XL. Fred, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Hank, man? Long time no talk to.
Hey, Fred, appreciate the time, man. Always enjoy the conversation with you. I haven't talked to you since Billy Napier got hired. I know it's only been, 3.5, 4 months on the job, but what do you make of the job he's done to this point?
I think Coach Napier is doing a great job right now. He's definitely, he's laying the foundation, doing the hard work and the roots of the high school, getting in tight with the high school coaches, all that stuff, trying to lay the foundation so all roads can lead to Florida.
You know, it's interesting, Fred, the Jacksonville area in particular, but really you can talk about the entire recruiting base in the state, around the region. Boy, Jim McElwain left a lot to be desired. Dan Mullen even left a lot to be desired. Billy Napier has hit the ground running with the recruiting staff that he has assembled, former players, including a teammate like you and Mike Peterson, who's on Billy Napier's staff now. Obviously, the recruiting, he understands it much, much more than, say, a McElwain or even a Mullen did.
Well, that's the key. I think those previous coaches pretty much thought Florida was going to recruit itself. And it's not like that when you got the likes of Sabian out there, at Alabama, coming into Florida, pretty much picking the top recruits out. And then you have Ohio State, too. So you have to go into those homes of those kids, and you got to recruit them because those big schools are. So you got to lay that foundation. I think that's what Coach Napier is trying to do. And I think we're bringing in, players like Mike Peterson, my former teammate, with all that wealth of knowledge that he's gained from, not only playing at Florida, but being in the NFL, can definitely only help in the recruiting process.
Former Florida Gator Fred Weary here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Fred, what happened in the recruiting game? Back when Spurrier was there, Florida got whoever they wanted. When Urban was there, the same thing. And look, the facilities have never been top-notch, but we've heard in the last 5, 6, 7 years how Florida just completely fell behind in facilities, completely fell behind in recruiting budgets, and that's why Georgia and Alabama and Clemson and all these teams had passed them, Texas A&M. Why do you think that happened, and why did it take so long for Florida basically to join the ball game in the recruiting wars?
Well, that's a lot of issues on that. I think it's the reason why those other schools pretty much had a jump on us in the facilities. I think that's what you're pretty much were saying. I think they have a little bit more space on campus to accommodate those improvements. And then we have to adapt. Basically, we're renovating the old baseball field to make those improvements. So it's taking a little bit of time for us to catch up with those other SEC schools, but we're in the process of doing that.
Fred, it's interesting. Rewind the clock back 365 days. April of 2021. Florida had come off not one, not two, but three back-to-back-to-back New Year's Six bowl games. They were talking potential national championship. And then the bottom fell out for Dan Mullen and that staff. As a guy that wore that uniform, a guy that won a national championship in that Gator uniform, how unbelievably disappointing was it to see what happened to your alma mater last year?
Oh, extremely. But after being, being a former athlete and, playing in a lot of games myself, I understand you could have some seasons like that. I mean, my first couple of seasons with the Saints was pretty much similar. So, I thought maybe I thought Coach Mullen, given the opportunity, I thought he was going to maybe bring us back up, but it didn't seem like that was going to happen. So with Coach Napier, it's a totally different vibe in there. And I think right now we're laying the foundation so we can get back to those championship days. And that's the reason why we got players in there like, Mike Pete. Myself, I'm coming back down there a lot. So hopefully I can, give some talks to the team. Hopefully we can inspire those guys in the direction that we're trying to get them to go.
Fred, and maybe this is just media guy talking, so I'm curious your perspective as a former player down there. Steve Spurrier was the University of Florida. You could argue even Will Muschamp, even though it didn't work out, was the University of Florida. I never got that vibe from Jim McElwain or from Dan Mullen even, but I certainly get it with Billy Napier. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, you're right. I think you have to embrace everything, not just being a CEO type leader at Florida. You got to embrace everything, the recruiting process, the fan, embrace everything. And I think that's what Coach Napier was doing. And I think he's going to do a great job there. And I think he's going to be one of those Gator great coaches too that we talk about.
Couple of more for Fred Weary here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Fred, Anthony Richardson, it's going to be his game, certainly. Boy, he looks the part. You hope he stays healthy because there looks like there's not a lot in that quarterback room after Anthony Richardson. You kind of take Emory Jones for granted. He was always there. Now with he being gone, it's really Anthony Richardson, and that's about it. What is your expectation for Anthony Richardson coming into this year?
I just want to see him basically kind of grow or mature as a quarterback, basically. I want to see him make his reads, go through the typical quarterback reads and all that stuff. Because I know what athleticism, we all know what athleticism he brings to the table versus running and his arm strength. But I just want to see him make the regular drops, timely on his passes, hit the crossers across the middle, the corner routes. I just want to see him with the timing with that, see if he can come down and grow into a quarterback spot.
You're the perfect person to ask. You're one of the best DBs to play at Florida. Certainly in recent memory, if not through the history of the program. A quarterback that big, that mobile, with that arm strength, that's got to be a nightmare for defensive backs, is it not?
Of course, yes. It makes, we can only cover for so long, because those guys, they run it all day, top speed receivers. So when you got a quarterback that can buy that much time and the arm strength and, that athleticism, he brings that other element to the game that the average quarterback doesn't have.
Fred, my concern, and I brought this up earlier this week, look, Gator fans wanted tougher non-conference opponents, all right? Gator fans got tired of playing Eastern Illinois and, Southern Miss and teams like that. And to me, I always made the point, yeah, it would be nice to play bigger competition, but you don't need to do it to achieve your ultimate goal. You could play 3 horrible non-conference opponents, play Florida State, and play your conference schedule. If you win out, you're going to the playoff. But the fans got what they want, and now the defending Pac-12 champion is coming in on Labor Day night, a Pac-12 champion in Utah that's a projected top 10 team in the preseason. How tough a putt will it be for Billy Napier right out of the gate with Utah, Kentucky, and Tennessee in the first month of the season?
Oh, it's going to be a big time test for him. That's pretty much almost like an SEC test, opening game. So Utah is a very formidable opponent, and they've been great the past couple of seasons. So I mean, we got our work cut out. But in saying that, I do know Gators and putting on that Gator uniform. I think we're going to be up for the challenge. So I think it's going to be a great test for us. And the winner, it's going to either go great for us or it's going to tell us exactly what we need to work on.
You said you've been getting down to Gainesville a little more often. Have you checked out the that football facility that's going to be opening here in a couple of months?
Well, eventually, I think I'm gonna have a ceremony because I think I got a locker room or something on the locker room up in there. So they're gonna present me with something. So I haven't seen it all yet. I just seen a glimpse of it. But yeah, it's gonna be wonderful. I think the recruits, everybody that comes through there, are definitely gonna love it because it's gonna have a history of pretty much everybody in there, the Gator Pass and all that type of stuff. So it's gonna be great.
You know, Fred, you tell me, when I was covering recruiting for Gridiron Now, I would ask a lot of these kids, you know, what's most important about choosing a school? And they would say getting to the NFL, early playing time. I want to see mom and dad. I want them to be able to come see me play. Very few of the ones I talked to, and I talked to, a couple hundred, very few brought up facilities. But is that as big a deal as the universities would make you believe?
I really don't really think so. I mean, I kind of think it's on the lines of what you was just saying. It's about, well, how fast can I get an opportunity to play? And then, you know, how quick can I, do y'all have a great track record of sending kids to the NFL? So those were pretty good still. But in my day, you know, I'm a Gator, you know, Gator blood is in my family. My mother is from the University. It's from Gainesville. So, you know, I always wanted to, you know, play for the Gators. So it's kind of different in my standpoint, even though Alabama was recruiting me, Miami was recruiting me, and all that type stuff like that. But Florida was kind of where I wanted to go at on that. And it was a lot of players I played against too. Was the same way like that with going to, you know, Florida State and the other schools too. But now it's more, I think, can I get that opportunity and then see if I can get to the next level? So I think that's the reason why we have Alabama and Ohio State making inroads in the state of Florida in recruiting.
All right, Fred, as we begin to wrap up here with you again, Fred Weary with us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. You are a Jacksonville guy. Last year, the Jaguars hired a guy that won 2 national titles at your alma mater in Urban Meyer. Disaster. What did you make as a former Gator, a Jacksonville resident, of the nightmare, essentially, that the 2021 season was for the Jaguars?
And might I add, I am a Jaguar fan now, even though I played for the Saints and all that. I root for my home team, so I was very disappointed. When we first hired Coach Myers, I was pretty much like everybody else. I wanted to give him an opportunity to succeed, but then after a couple of weeks after things the stuff that was coming out, the Jacksonville camp, it was kind of like, does he really want to be the leader that we thought he was going to be? And it didn't kind of seem like he was trying to play that part at all. So it was kind of very disappointing. I definitely thought it was disappointing for Trevor because I definitely believe in Trevor. I think Trevor, his potential is off the chart. I think I like the hire now. I just thought Meyer was going to be that, and he clearly kind of showed us that he didn't want to have anything to do with that.
Well, heck, Fred, now that I know you're a Jaguar fan, you'll be one of our Jaguar insiders here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, leave us with this. Obviously, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. You bring in Doug Peterson as head coach. Have they surrounded Trevor enough, coaching-wise, playmaker-wise, for him to be successful in 2022?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Coach Peterson, he's done it. He has a great track record, too. So, these guys, they want to – you can tell they want to win. They're trying to make the moves to win. And I think Trevor has a great leader now. He clearly didn't have that last year, and it kind of is bad for him in his rookie year. But I think right now he has that leadership right now, and I think he's going to do great. He has the arm talent, the arm strength. He's a great talent now. I think he's ready to go now.
Mandarin High School, the University of Florida, the National Football League with the New Orleans Saints, and a former 1010XL alum. Let's not forget that. Fred Weary here with us on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Fred, it's been way too long, man. Always enjoy talking with you, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah. Don't be so late on it next time. They definitely have something for us.
Grilling stuff.
3 double cheeseburgers with everything.
Fixing stuff.
Let's go to work.
Drinking stuff.
You know a lot about beer. He knows a lot about everything.
1010XL's Man's Man.
Bring it, baby.
Joe Coward. Weekdays from noon to 3 on 1010XL.
That's the sound of a crack in the ceiling found at a home inspection. But with a Realtor by your side, a newfound leak might only cause minor worries. With their expertise, a Realtor can suggest a credit at closing and even connect you to a contractor to help you shore up that leak and alleviate your worries. When it comes to cracks in your plans, the expertise of a Realtor can make all the difference. The difference between an agent and a Realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Hacker here for Blue Chew. Oh yeah, guys, it's back. It's all about confidence when it's time to have fun. But sometimes stress, a bad day, even your age can affect your performance. BlueChew.com to the rescue. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as both Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable and help men combat all forms of ED. What's great about Blue Chew, it's an online prescription service. No doctor visits, no pharmacy visits, no awkward conversations. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll get your prescription in days. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code HACKER at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. BlueChew.com, promo code HACKER to get your first month free. Trust me, promo code HACKER at BlueChew.com.
That little indicator light has been telling you, get an oil change. For how long now? But you're busy, and auto service takes time. So how about hurry on over to a famous Quick Lube right now? 12 locations open 7 days a week with super fast oil change service while you wait comfortably in your own car, starting at just $20. Now that's famous. For fast, reliable oil change service at your convenience, visit Famous Quick Lube, servicing every customer like they're famous.
It seems like golf is on everyone's to-do list, and the beautiful weather is making it even more irresistible. But as the weather warms up, the termite activity heats up too. That's why Peninsular Pest Control is busy installing the Centricon Always Active Termite Elimination System around hundreds of Jacksonville area homes. Trust Peninsular, Jacksonville's first certified Centricon specialist. Learn more about termites and Centricon at CritterGetter.com.
It's time to get on the tee with me, Joe C. The XL Primetime Spring League is back, and you need to be part of it. Southampton invites you to join us every Wednesday now through early May for our 9 after 5. As soon as you knock off work, you can head to Southampton for a great game every week. Chef Gary cooking up something good for afterwards and prizes. Call 287-PLAY and get in the game every Wednesday. It's our 9 after 5 at Southampton. Call 287-PLAY now.
Looking to be your own boss in a proven business model? Like construction and working outdoors. Superior Fence and Rail is franchising in new markets all over the Southeast, from Birmingham to Savannah, and even a few more markets in Florida. Come win with us and redefine the fence industry. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail to learn more about starting a fence franchise today.
When you're on the fence about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Find your why with membership at the First Coast YMCA. Whether it's improving your health, learning to swim, coaching youth sports, or even joining the staff, everyone can find a way to be involved at the Y. Take a tour today and discover all the benefits of YMCA membership, including personal and group exercise classes, adult sports leagues, complimentary youth sports and kids zone, and so much more with no annual contracts. Find your why today. Visit fcymca.org.
Don't suffer another day with cheap box store cornhole boards. Order your custom luxury boards from Mystic Cornhole Company right here in Jax. Ask about pro-level bags, lights, score stands, and other accessories. And score with Mystic Cornhole Company.
Spring cleaning is upon us, and this is the perfect time to call Zero Res. Zero Res can clean your carpets, area rugs, tile and grout, furniture, and even your air ducts. Remember, a clean home is a healthy home. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Here at Citrus Distillers, we're Duval till we die. And that's why we're happy to announce we are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look for our amazing locally distilled whiskeys at your favorite liquor store. Going out for a concert or event? Remember to visit your local Whiskey King at the Distillers Bar in ViStar Memorial Arena. Find us on social media for fun drink recipes and more. Citrus Distillers, proud partner of the Jaguars and your local Whiskey King. Cheers.
Everything you need to know about your Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars Today with Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
Jaguars Today every weekday from 10 to noon on 1010XL. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line, brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
And back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. Glad you are with us. We are inside of 10 days till the National Football League draft, and spring football in the world of college football is wrapping up all over the country. Let's talk about both of those topics with Anthony Tresh of ProFootballFocus.com. Anthony, thank you for the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing great and ready to get to the NFL draft. It seems like we've been talking about these guys for months now. But, I'm very excited to see what happens, just because this year's class, there's something every single year that's interesting with this year. You'd have no idea where everybody's going to land, right? I mean, rankings are different across the board. So I'm excited to see what finally happens.
Anthony, welcome to the world of Jacksonville. We've been talking about the draft since Halloween, although we're used to that in these parts with the record the Jaguars have had seemingly year after year after year. All right, number one, next Thursday, everybody's talking about either Trayvon Walker, Aidan Hutchinson, Evan Neal, maybe Ike Ekwonu, although you don't see that as much any longer. Anthony, where are you with the number one pick in the draft? What would you do if you were the Jaguars? And same question, what do you think what they will do?
Yeah, I would definitely go with Aidan Hutchinson, Michigan edge defender. I just think he is one of the most pro-ready guys in this class, one of the safest bets in this class. And, I think the questions about his ceiling, I can kind of see where people are coming from, but I think he's going to be an exceptional pro. I think he has all pro potential. That's why, the comp's thrown around a lot with them, Joey Bosa. But, you can definitely see it. And I could see him having that type of impact in the NFL. I think he's a quality athlete. But I think with his pass rush playing on a down-to-down basis, that's why I'm so high on him, right? I mean, he has it in between the ears. He knows how to, set up and manipulate tackles, and he has an array of moves to win with. And, I think it'll be, the way he kind of won in college, probably won't be able to get away with it as much as the NFL. I mean, he consistently just got those tackles to open up those hips and take the back door inside, that counter to win. But, he is the full package there. He knows how he needs to win, and he takes full advantage of that. So I think he's just one of the most complete players in this class, and that's definitely the side that I would take.
Anthony, admittedly, it is short-sighted, but I'm going to ask you anyway, because there's a thought here in Jacksonville going back to the Orange Bowl and the fact that he did not have the great game against Georgia. In fact, in some instances in that game, Georgia was double-teaming him and took him out of the game. Is that legit concern, or should Jaguar fans not worry about that? Are they overthinking that a little bit?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that game at all. I mean, that type of game is almost, you have to throw it out in the evaluation process because there's very little reps to actually evaluate, right? I mean, like you said, they took him out of the game. They doubled him, and you could see that, Georgia's offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, they circled those guys and said, we're not going to let Aidan Hutchinson and even David Ojabo beat us, right? Because that's the strength of that Michigan team. And those guys, specifically Aidan, was a key reason why Michigan got to that point. And, they did a good job of limiting the opportunities, whether it was a double team, chips, just quick schemed throws. There was just very few chances for Aidan to really make an impact. And, if you ask him that, he'll say the same thing. And you even ask someone on Georgia's offensive line, he'll say it too. I mean, I believe it was Jamari Salyer. He came on one of PFF's podcasts, PFF Tailgate, talking with one of my guys, Austin Gale, and he even said, it was like, yeah, we weren't going to let them really beat us. We weren't going to let them win the game for them. And so they took him out of the game. So that was their game plan. And, it wasn't so much Aidan just wasn't, effective. He was quiet. He didn't play well. It was just he didn't have an opportunity to really, show his full abilities.
Anthony Tresh, ProFootballFocus.com, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Anthony, I agree with you. Aidan Hutchinson is the direction I would go, but the Travon Walker talk won't go away in these parts. Evan Neal talk won't go away in these parts. Do you still think Jacksonville is deliberating over the pick? Do you believe Walker and Neal potentially are still in play?
I really do think they're still deliberating it. I don't think it's set in stone. I don't think they know, maybe they're leaning in one direction or not, but I think it's still kind of up in the air there. And I would be very surprised if it was a tackle. I think it's going to either be Aidan Hutchinson or, Travon Walker. But I would not be surprised if it is Walker over Hutchinson, even though Hutchinson's a slight favorite. If I am predicting, I think they'll go Hutchinson, but it's still up in the air between those two. And it's very interesting because they're kind of completely different players with what they can offer, for the 2022 season and really 2023. I'm not so much as high on Travon Walker as a lot of people. I think I get the reason why. Obviously, the physical tools are off the charts. Long arms, just a very gifted athlete, a rare athlete, but he just doesn't know how to play the position. He doesn't know how to play the game. That pass rush plan, just the expertise that I mentioned with Aidan Hutchinson, it's nowhere near there with Travon Walker. And, some coaches may be able to think, well, this guy's gifted enough. We can get him there. We can coach him. But at the end of the day, it's just really rare to see some of those guys that weren't developed in college, to really make an impact in the NFL. And, he was playing underneath one of the best coaching staffs in college football with Kirby Smart and Dan Lanning. And, it was just a very talented staff he had at his disposal. And, he just really couldn't ever show any progress throughout his time at Georgia. And yes, of course, the defense kind of put him in some, bad situations that kind of limited his opportunities. A lot of tight knit fronts there, having him inside, not so much on the true edge. But when we did see him on the true edge, it was kind of everything that you expected, right? I mean, it was everything, like I said, it was just a very raw player. So I wouldn't really go that route, but I think in what they could do, I think it's definitely just at this point still a toss-up between Hutchinson and Walker.
Boy, that's interesting, Anthony, that you bring that up about Walker, and it's so curious to me how we are in the draft process. Walker projected to be probably a mid to late round first, goes to the combine, goes absolutely nuts, all of a sudden projected in the top 10, maybe even the top 5. But as we're getting closer to the draft, it appears now that some flaws are being exposed in Walker's game. And you say the talent could potentially be there, but he's just a very raw football player.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for a team like Jacksonville, who, they did do a lot, over the last few months to really help that roster, I still think they just need to do whatever they can to get, players that they know they can contribute, right? I think with someone like Walker, I wouldn't take him until the end of the first round. And, honestly, it would have to be a contending situation like the Kansas City Chiefs, for example, where coaching staff's safe. No matter what happens with that draft pick, you're going to be in good hands. They have Patrick Mahomes, and you could develop a talent like that. And hopefully within the next 3 years, they show some progress. I just don't think, Travon Walker is going to be that, within at least the next couple of years. And it's just a big if he can ever get to fully maximizing his capabilities. Whereas Aidan Hutchinson, like I said, I just think he's going to be an immediate impact player. And I think he does have the potential to be that elite talent.
Couple of more for Anthony Tresh, ProFootballFocus.com. He's with us here on 1010XL Radio in Jacksonville. Anthony, honestly, as much intrigue as there is for number 1, there's almost as much intrigue at number 33 for the Jaguars with the first pick in the second round. I think you could look at wide receiver there. I think they need help on interior offensive line there, maybe even inside linebacker, because after you release Myles Jack, there's not a lot of depth at inside linebacker. What is your thought on 33 regarding a potential receiver that might be there and all the talk about Tyler Lindenbaum, the center from Iowa? Any chance, Anthony, he is there at 33?
Yeah, with Linderbaum, I would be very, very surprised. I think I really do think he's probably going to end up being a Cincinnati Bengal. I think that's the end of the first round is where he's probably going to end up just because of, there's not really a big need across the league for a zone center. right? There's only so many of those, and Cincinnati they could certainly use his own center. Obviously, even though they have built up that offensive line, so I think he's going to end up being a Bengal, and I would be surprised if he slid to the Jaguars there at number 33. As far as receiver goes, I still think there will be probably 6 receivers taken in the first round, if not 7. I think we could see a pretty big run there. But even if that happens, I still think you get a pretty good receiver there at number 33, even if 7 go in the first round. I think this wide receiver class is very deep. I wouldn't say, whereas last year it was very strong up top, right? I mean, you had, those kind of, I don't want to say generational and some with all 3, but Jamar Chase certainly applied there. But you had Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith, who would, I think, be the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in this class. But this class just is full of, I think, safe, high floor, number 2 options. But that's still very valuable, right? And so I think you could get a good receiver there. I think Skye Moore is a name to keep an eye on from Western Michigan. I think he is one of the more underrated players in this class. I think, even this past year, he was the highest graded receiver in all of college football, right? And it does help playing at Western Michigan, but still, that's a very tough thing to do at any level. And, he does kind of project very well, just with where he is from, a route running perspective with his release package. And it shows that he's NFL ready in that regard. So, I'm very confident in him at the next level. He has very good hands, unafraid to make plays over the middle of the field. So I think if he's there, that would be a very good option for him.
Anthony writes for ProFootballFocus.com, but also a good amount of your work focuses on the college game. Earlier this week, you released your way too early top 25. Now, keep in mind, Anthony, where we are in Jacksonville, only about 90 minutes away from Gainesville. I did not see the Gators in your top 25. What I did see that got my interest is 6 Florida opponents on the 2022 schedule, ranked inside your way too early top 25. We're going to find out pretty quick in year number 1 with Billy Napier what they have to offer, because you have Utah, who Florida opens with, inside your preseason top 10.
Yeah, I think next year's college season is going to be a lot like this past year. I think you're going to have a couple of dominant teams up top, and then it's just going to be, the difference between maybe the 5th or 6th team in the country and the 30th ranked team in the country. It's very, very slim. I think we're going to see a pretty equal year with the exception to a couple of teams. But in the case of Florida, I think they're a very big boom or bust team, right? It's just, their success this year is just going to hinge on the development of Anthony Richardson, right? You saw, what he could be, but at the same time, it was just kind of playmaking ability. It seemed like schoolyard football a little bit. You just got to play a little bit more disciplined, right? And, not every time it's just your physical gifts won't be so much against some of these opponents won't be the reason you can just kind of rely on to make big plays. So it'll be interesting to see what Florida does. I'm very bullish on their program long term. I love the staff that Billy Napier's brought in. I think Patrick Toney, one of the defensive assistants there, I think he's a rising star in the coaching ranks. I think they brought in some good guys too. I really like the transfer they brought in too from Louisiana, Cyrus Torrance, the guard. I think he has All-American potential. I think there's some stuff to like with this team, but I think this year it could be, a little rocky. They could be, just depending on, like I said, with Anthony Richardson, that's going to be a big thing there. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be a tough slate with them opening up against Utah and Kentucky. It helps they're both, you're not getting them, on the road there, but those are still going to be tough games. And then of course at the end there, when you get some of those, big dogs there, like with Georgia and even A&M, we still don't really know what kind of team they could be because of their quarterback situation, but they're going to be still tough with their all-around roster. South Carolina too, Spencer Rattler being their quarterback. I think that's going to be a little bit of a surprise team this year. So it's going to be tough for Florida, I think, but no matter what, I wouldn't be too concerned if they do end up struggling this year. I wouldn't be concerned with it because, like I said, I have faith in Billy Napier.
Hey, Anthony, final question for you, man. Again, really appreciate you joining us here in Jacksonville. The Georgia Bulldogs, you have them number 3 in your way too early top 25. I agree with that. My only concern for them is they're replacing, like, everybody on defense. I know they have Jalen Carter returning, Nolan Smith returning, but my goodness, with Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt, Quay, Trevon Walker, both the Walkers, Lewis Seen, Nakobe Dean, it is incredible the amount of talent they're going to have drafted next week. That defense has to take somewhat of a hit this year, does it not?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of team Georgia is this year. I struggled with ranking them just because they lost so much talent, like you said. But at the end of the day, they still have so many good players, right? Some of them may be a little bit more inexperienced. But I think if that team stays healthy, I think they're still going to be a very quality football program. I'm not so sure they're going to be able to, beat Alabama again. I think Alabama's probably got the edge on them, but that defense still has a lot of talent. Jalen Carter, I think, was probably one of the best players in that team last year. He wasn't even draft eligible along the interior defensive line. He's going to be right there with Will Anderson as one of the best defensive players in the country. That linebacking course, we saw him in garbage time a little bit last year. I still think that a lot of those guys have breakout potential. Nolan Smith on the edge too, former top, overall recruit from a few years ago. And then the secondary is a little bit thin, but you have guys like Keely Ringo, former 5-star recruit at corner, Chris Smith, safety, a big leader, Tyke Smith, who we didn't get to see last year, running the star position. Former West Virginia transfer. He was actually the highest graded slot corner a couple of years ago for the Mountaineers. Now that he's healthy, hopefully he can stay healthy for the whole season. I think that's a big addition for Georgia. And then the offense, I think Stetson Bennett, I don't want to, dog on him a little bit because at the end of the day, he did what he needed to do to lead Georgia to a national title last year, but he's not someone that's going to put the team on his back, so to speak, right? But I think with the playmakers he has around him and the offensive coordinator and play caller he has with Todd Monken, I think he's in a good position to be put in a position to lead the offense to at least good efficiency from a passing perspective. I mean, the slew of weapons he has at tight end that tight end room might be one of the best that we really have ever seen there with Brock Bowers, Darnell Washington, and Arik Gilbert, who's coming back finally. So, I mean, it's just going to be an all-around talented team. Some guys are going to have to step up, at wide receiver specifically and cornerback, and hopefully a little bit more growth from the quarterback position. But, I still think they're going to be a really good football team, very high ceiling team.
Anthony Tresh, ProFootballFocus.com. Anthony, always enjoy the conversation. Man, thank you very much. And let's do it again after the Jaguars make 12 picks next week. We'll review what the Jaguars did with you, hopefully in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Always enjoy the conversation with Anthony Tresh there, ProFootballFocus.com. Also, thank you to former Gator defensive back, national championship winner back in 1996, Fred Weary, and former Jaguar offensive lineman Uche Wanari. All right, NBA playoffs wrapping up tonight. How about the Boston Celtics? Ladies and gentlemen, normally when a 2 seed beats a 7 seed, it's not a big deal, although the 7 seed in this instance happens to be Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Brooklyn. Boston won at the buzzer on Sunday. They win again tonight, 114-107. Boston takes a 2-0 lead in the series. Brooklyn now has to win 4 out of 5. Boston looking very, very strong right now. Game 3 in Toronto. Raptors lead the 76ers 75-71 late in the third. Philadelphia is up 2-0 on that series, so Toronto has to win tonight, you would think, to have any shot at coming back. And they are just underway in Milwaukee, Game 2, Chicago and the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee leads that series 1-0. That'll almost do it for a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Now, tomorrow, Friday, and Monday, not going anywhere, but we will be on network because I am going to enjoy a little bit of a vacation. Show will be back next week. Already had a vacation plan. The good folks here at 1010XL are going to let me take that vacation, heading to Las Vegas, going to set the scene for the NFL draft next week. What a scene Las Vegas should be a week from tomorrow. I'm heading out there a week early with my wife, a couple of buddies, some R&R, little fun in the Las Vegas sun, if you will.
How much alcohol?
Oh, there's going to be a lot, Denmark. There's no question.
No sipping.
After the week I've had, are you kidding me? If you go behind the curtain, I've spilled my guts to Denmark about illnesses and other such things. I'm ready to roll. Speaking of rolling, I'm flying out of Orlando, Florida at 6 a.m. It's 9:52 right now. I have to leave Jacksonville at like 2 in the morning so I don't even know if I'm going to bed. But I will be in Las Vegas at 9:44 Pacific time in the morning, and I will be back here in Jacksonville with you on Hacker After Dark next Tuesday night as we will get ready for the National Football League Draft. Thank you to Dylan Denmark. Again, thank you to our guests, Uche Wanare, Fred Weary, and Anthony Tresh. Jacksonville, enjoyed it. Have a terrific weekend. Blues 6-8 tomorrow and Friday. And I will be back following Rick Ballou next Tuesday night as we will continue Hacker After Dark here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. For all of us on Hacker After Dark, have a great night, and we will talk to you next week after a little vacay out in Las Vegas. Good night, everybody.
Share your life with 1010XL. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Oh, wait. I'm going to take a picture and post it on Facebook. What? Hashtag
1010XL.
This month, the Key Buick GMC receives 0% up